What's up guys, Bobby here from Wedding Cinema University, and if you watch our last video, you know how important we think audio is to any film, and especially wedding films. We are of firm belief that audio is just as important as video when it comes to wedding cinema, and so today we want to do a comparison of two of our favorite recorders that we use for miking people up on the wedding day, which is the Zoom H1 and the Tascam DR10L. So we've been using the Zoom H1 for a long time now. We have a handful of them, they do a great job and we love them. However, we've recently sort of started transitioning over to using the Tascam DR10L more, which I'm just going to refer to as the Tascam from this point on, for a variety of reasons, but we wanted to do a fair and direct comparison between these two recorders in three key areas, which are size, features, and audio quality. So let's jump in. So the first category is one that I really feel we have to touch on, and that is the size. So, these are things that we are using to mic individual people up. We're asking them to put them in their pockets, clip them to a belt, clipping them to the back of dresses, and basically just generally asking them to wear these or carry these recorders. So the size is a huge factor on a wedding day. And to add to that, weddings are something where you want to be quick, you want your gear to be light, so the smaller and the lighter that you can have that, the better. Every bit counts. So as you can see, the size difference here is actually pretty significant. Like I said, we used the Zoom H1 for years and we never really felt like it was too big or it was in the way. However, when comparing it to the Tascam, the Zoom H1 looks pretty big. The Tascam is a little bit wider than the Zoom, but it's significantly shorter. Comparatively, it feels incredibly small. I was astonished at how small it was and still being able to pack in all the features that I need. So the winner of this category is definitely the Tascam for me. I don't think there's an argument really to be made the other way. You would never really want the bigger one when you're just looking at size, although there are features on the Zoom H1 that are available because of the size, which we'll get into next. So this next category is the build and the physical features of the recorder. So first we're going to focus on the Zoom H1. On the front is the record button, which is nice and easy to use, and on the side are a variety of buttons for the input levels for your mic, as well as the actual input for your mic, and on the other side, a place to plug in headphones. On the back, there's 3 switches for auto level, low cut, and switching between WAV and MP3. Also, you'll notice with the power button, it can be pushed up to lock all the buttons, which is crucial to avoid accidentally bumping the record button. And then on the top, there are 2 microphones so that this can record audio even if you don't have a lav mic plugged in. Moving over to the Tascam, it's almost the reverse, with most of the buttons being on the front and the power button on the side. The main difference with the Tascam is the options are entirely menu-based. There aren't dedicated buttons to most of these things or any dedicated switches. If we move to the top, we'll see the input for a lav mic, which has a screw collar, a really nice feature to have. And on the back, there's a belt clip that comes with it, something that the Zoom H1 is very much lacking, although you can make your own. There's also a headphone jack on the left side so that you can monitor the audio. One thing to note is that this does not have onboard microphones, so you'll need to use it with a lav mic or it won't record any audio at all. Though it does come with a pretty good quality lav mic, whereas the Zoom does not. So just to recap the pros and cons here, pros for the Zoom, it has a lock button, it has dedicated buttons and switches for a lot of the options, and it has built-in mics on the top. The cons are there's no collar to screw the mic into, so the mic can get pulled out pretty easily, especially if you're shoving it in somebody's pocket. And there's no belt clip included, which isn't a big deal. I've fashioned my own many times, and you can buy some separately, though I don't know of any through Zoom, but it is kind of annoying. It would be nice to have that included. For the Tascam on the Pro side, it does have that screw collar and a belt clip, and it does come with a lav mic. However, on the con side, it might be a big deal to you that there aren't any dedicated buttons for things, and you do have to go into the menu to change settings. So that's the physical build and layout of all of these. Now let's get into the features that they each pack. They both have auto level and low cut features, which are great to have. One of the main differences that I see between the two is that the zoom has a specific input level setting from 1 to 100, whereas the Tascam just has 5 dedicated settings for the input levels. These do work great, but it can be nice to really dial in the exact decibel level and the exact setting that you want on the zoom. However, the Tascam more than makes up for that with its ability to dual record a lower decibel level file, which is a huge plus. The zoom also has decibel levels listed on the left side when you're monitoring the audio, whereas the Tascam doesn't have any numbers associated with that. It's just a bar where you can see the audio levels. So to recap, some pros of the zoom on the feature side is that there are specific input level settings and the decibel level is displayed. However, one of the big cons is that there's no dual recording, so you can't record a second track at a different decibel level. On the pros for the Tascam, it does have that dual record option, which is huge, especially for a wedding. And the cons are mainly that it doesn't have specific input level settings and the decibel level isn't displayed. Those aren't huge as long as you know what you're looking for and if you have it set up appropriately. Now, of course, the last category and perhaps the most important is sound quality. Ultimately, that's what it all boils down to. A mic or a recorder can have tons of great features, but if the audio quality is poor, then it doesn't really matter. So unfortunately, I can't do a perfect direct comparison, though I'm going to try my best to get as close as I can. As I mentioned, the Tascam comes with a lav mic that screws onto that screw collar, whereas the Zoom H1, you have to buy one separately. So the lav mic between the two is going to be different, so heads up just so you know. Now, I've been recording all of this video on the Tascam DR10L. Like I said, we've mostly moved over to that. But just so you have it, this is me speaking on the Tascam DR10L. I have the audio settings to the middle level. I am recording dual tracks, so you'll only hear one. And I have low cut off, and it is also not on auto gain. So that is the Tascam DR10L. Now, as you can see, I've put the Zoom H1 lav mic on. This is one that we bought separately. Like I mentioned, it's an Asden lav mic, but this is the audio coming from the Zoom H1. I have the auto leveling turned off, and I also have low cut turned off. So while these might not be exactly the same, this is about as close as I can get to a direct comparison, keeping all the settings as consistent as possible between this and the Tascam. Again, this is the Zoom H1 audio. So that's the wrap up for my comparison of the Tascam DR10L and the Zoom H1. You can find links to both of these in the description below. And as always, I'd love for you guys to like and comment. Let me know if you have any questions about these or anything else. And of course, subscribe and follow along with Wedding Cinema University as we create more videos to help you build your skill set and your business. Thanks.